Today's show, we are meeting a young woman who has taken every single avenue of her life and she is creating maximum value. Rowan Carnihan, thank you so much for coming on Platform Inspires.
Thank you for having me.
We've met a few times and had a few coffees and created this, which is amazing. So I need to let everybody know who you are, what you do, okay? I'm just going to reel them off. I had to write them down because I'll never remember them. I'm wondering when you actually have a chance to put your feet up with all of the jobs that you've got.
Not so often, yeah.
Not so often. So you're one of the co-founders of the Amy Winehouse Foundation.
I am, yeah.
Amazing. You're also director and co-chair of Fully Focused Productions. And recently, I'm thinking it's recent, you are now a global change ambassador for Round Table Global.
That's right, yeah.
When do you get your time to put your feet up?
Yeah, when you say it all out loud like that, it does sound like quite a lot, but you don't really, you don't really think about it. But yeah, the full-time job is the Amy Winehouse Foundation, so that's kind of my mainstay. Fully Focused Productions I've been involved with since 2010, and that's more kind of being on the board and strategic level. And yeah, the Round Table Global, I think I agreed to become an ambassador about a year ago, and then there's been various events and stuff that I've been involved with throughout this year.
Amazing. So let's start with the Amy Winehouse Foundation, because so many people know Amy Winehouse.
Of course.
You know, a gorgeous, beautiful, talented singer that was lost so early in her life.
Yeah.
But you didn't know her, did you? You didn't you weren't in that circle, were you? So
no. How
did you come about to get the job as one of the co-founders?
Yeah, it was a funny old turn of events, really, just quite fateful, I think, really. So in the summer of 2011, I just got back from some travelling, so I'd left a job of 8 years before, and I'd graduated from doing a degree in social enterprise, and then kind of 2011 I went off to Thailand for a few months, had an amazing time, and then throughout that summer I'd already got involved with Fully Focused the year before, because that was set up with some old friends of mine, and I was kind of available in the summer, so I said, look, I'll just do a bit of kind of free work for fundraising and business planning with you, and then that was the summer of the riots, and I mean, we'll probably talk about Fully Focused a bit after, but we kind of spent the summer helping them to make that film, so co-produced that film with them. But by the end of the summer, I was like broke. I was signing on, and I had no idea what was next, and things were getting a little bit stressful with that. So kind of had just decided I was going to start looking for work, so I'd started to apply for jobs. And on the Monday of 1 week, so a friend of mine shared something on Facebook about the Amy Winehouse Foundation, and she had worked with Amy on her music, so she was part of her management team. So that really got my attention, and so I sent her a message and said, like, what's that all about? Are they looking for anyone? And she said, to be honest, I just think they need advice. It was launched on Amy's birthday, the 14th of September. She'd only died on the 23rd of July.
Right.
So the family instantly, they really wanted it to be launched on her birthday, so that I guess forevermore that could also still feel like a positive day for them. So she said, look, shall I make an introduction? So on the Monday, I went and had a chat. It was a really informal chat with her dad, Mitch, and his manager, Trenton. And that was really, I'd done a lot of prep before, because it just this felt really, really important, a really big opportunity. What sort of prep could you do? What, listen to her music and find out about her life? That's exactly what I did, actually. Okay. Yeah. I just kind of sat in my back room, I put on her albums, and I did a load. I just had lots of massive sheets of paper, different coloured pens, and was just really thinking, okay, what could this be? All I knew was it was the Amy Winehouse Foundation, but what could this be? What are the, and obviously I'd looked at their mission statement and stuff. So it was something like works to support young people, disadvantaged young people through ill health, disability, addiction, and something else. Can't remember the fourth one, but it was really broad. So it was kind of like, and by the time I'd started, they just made a few donations, but it just wasn't very refined. But yeah, at that point, so on the Monday, I had a chat with Mitch and Trenton, and basically said to them, this is my thoughts around what you could do, and I, laid that out for them. And then the Tuesday I had a second interview for another job, and then they offered me the job as I walked down the street leaving it.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, this is a dilemma. I really need a job. I don't have any money. And the Amy Winehouse situation wasn't even an offer. There wasn't a job on the table because they didn't really know what they needed. And so on the Wednesday, I just took a chance, emailed my friend and said, can you pass this on to Mitch and Trenton? And I just said, look, I know what you need to do, this is what you need to do, and I'd really love to help you do that. I've been offered another job and I need to tell them by tomorrow. Mitch said, okay, could you come and meet my wife on Thursday? So I went and met his wife, and she gave me a bit more of a formal interview and asked a few more detailed questions. Thursday I had to go back to the other job, so I just turned it down, took a chance.
Okay.
Thought, this is a risk, this is a leap of faith, because I don't know what's going to come tomorrow. You know, I might have, you know. And then Friday morning they phoned on their way to the airport. I think they were going to Dublin, and Mitch and his wife Jane, and they said, we're offering you a job, same money that you just turned down, and when can you start, basically? And I was like, oh my God. It felt so huge and such an amazing opportunity. I felt it was out of my depth. I felt out of my depth, and I thought, this is beyond me. You know, but there was something in me that very strongly was saying, this is the job for you. And it was a point in my life where everything I'd ever done, which had really felt quite mishmash and not with much focus, all of a sudden made sense and all of a sudden fit together perfectly.
Because you're from North London, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're a North London girl.
I'm a North London girl.
And when you looked at Amy's life and you looked at your own life, there was huge similarities, wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, yeah, just that kind of similarity of, you know, when you've grown up in London and you're kind of out and about, and the people that you'll have grown up around. And yeah, I felt an affinity with her, I guess. I did feel connected to her, and even through that process of kind of, you know, strategizing what it could be, I did feel connected, and I've felt very connected to her throughout my time there, really. I do. She'll pop up in the most unusual places, or at the most kind of important times, where you just get this little, you're questioning something, and then on comes rehab or something, and you're like, all right, all right.
Just a little reminder, and keep going, it's okay.
Yeah, and the family get that too, so it's like she's there, she's included still.
When we met, you was telling me that you were one of these children that were in the buggies going on rallies with your mum.
Yeah.
What was that like? Can you remember those days?
Yeah, I mean, it was such a big part of my childhood that it was just totally normal. So I think the first one that I went on was Save the Seals. So I was in my buggy, and I remember I had 2 teddy bear seals. So one was a mummy one and one was a baby one, and I was taken on that with those in my buggy. Yeah, really, whatever the cause. I guess my mum was just very passionate about change, and you know, that right to stand up for what you believe in, or to stand up for others who don't have the ability to do that for themselves. So that, yeah, it was just really normal, and I really enjoyed them. I mean, they were a lot of fun as a kid. I
wanted to talk about Amy's Yard, because that's the part that really struck me. I know that you've created this 12-week programme.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. How does that work? Because I've met some of the youngsters that have come out of that, Joel being one of them, who we are going to be meeting soon. So don't worry, because Joel's story is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, tell us about this and why this was really important.
Yeah, so in those early days, when we were mostly focusing on the grant making, we would visit lots of the charities that we were supporting, really moving. And in the early days, particularly Mitch and I, we couldn't go. We'd visit all the organisations, but we couldn't go and not leave in tears. Like, we'd be so. I
was going to say, it must really touch your life.
It was really, yeah, it was really affected you. And I think for the family, you know, it was part of their grieving, but also part of the kind of, if possible, you know, the kind of lifting of their spirits in a way that they was being able to see firsthand that Amy was having this impact on all of these lives. But it was early days, so it was emotional, and but they'd be making music, so they'd often come over and say to Mitch, "Oh, do you want to hear my song?" Or, you know, and they'd be there singing or rapping about their lives, but the lyrics were so powerful, and you were just like, that is just, that it would floor you, you know. They'd be talking about having lost their mum, and, you know, being in prison and not being able to see their kids, and all of this stuff going on, this chaos, you know, real chaos in their lives. So Mitch would be like, well, we've still got Amy's studio around the corner, you know, why don't you come and have a go? We had some events that we could get them to perform at, and when we said, okay, let's practice, they couldn't, you know, they couldn't take their eyes off the floor. They were really nervous and anxious, and we were like, okay, yeah, we're going to need to bring someone in. So I brought in a friend that was an actor, and he did a bit of stuff with them. They were fine at the performance. But then I guess from that, Trenton and I just started to think, okay, well, there's clearly loads more. It's just been this ever-evolving journey, really. Every single time we run it, we take on learning from the last one, and we change something at least, because we take the young people's feedback on board. We take that really seriously. And now it's a 12-week accredited programme, so we wrote our own units with AQA, which is a national framework.
Wonderful.
They're in the music industry, artist development and transferable skills. And really the idea is for these young people, so we take on 16 at a time. They're 18 to 25-year-olds.
What was your life like at 18 to 25?
18 to 25, probably less chaotic, I think. I think most of my rebellion and kind of, I don't know what I was doing, but kind of, yeah, I don't know how you define it, not self-sabotage, but I guess in a way I might look back at it and think it was a little bit like that. Kind of, yeah, I think I'd kind of had trouble in the first school that I went to, and, you know, like many people had come from you know, my parents had broken up when I was about 1.5, so it kind of, you know, that was the norm, and not that these things have to have an impact, but, you know, they can have an impact. And kind of because I'd had a bit of trouble in the first school I went to, I arrived at second school with a bit more of a chip on my shoulder and a bit of a who cares attitude, really. I guess I started to get in quite a lot of trouble in school. People never believe it when they meet me now, because they're like, "What?
That's
you
why I'm asking you, so that they can hear you say
yeah,
these
they're like, "You can't have been in trouble." You know, I'd shut a teacher in a cupboard once.
You shut a teacher in a cupboard?
Shut a teacher in a cupboard, and I think I was probably only 12
How did you get a teacher in the cupboard?
I think she was in there. I didn't push her in the cupboard.
Get in the cupboard. You've got to get in the cupboard.
She was in there already, and then
you just kind of closed the door behind her?
For the laughs, you know, because I guess at that point I was already feeling a little bit, I guess, there was a group of girls that weren't being very nice to me, so I guess there was a kind of way of kind of getting my kind of, you know,
hey, look at me, I'm
the
cool.
bravado up. And then when I went to this second school, I instantly was attracted to the naughtier group. The group, you know, in our school, every year had a bit of a notorious group, and they became my group. And, you know, we were just up to all sorts, you know, kind of from a young age we were experimenting, you know, kind of going out, getting quite drunk, you know, not being where we said we were meant to be, you know, and we were putting ourselves in some pretty dangerous positions. We were allowing that to be our norm, but somewhere underneath I definitely knew this wasn't the place to be. And
so this has really helped you, hasn't it, to be able to relate to the youngsters that are coming in all what you do, because we're going to go move on to Fully Focused in a minute, because I've watched all the videos which are just mind-blowing. But this has really been like the foundation, because you left school, you didn't do university straight away, did you?
No, I didn't do uni till I was 28 or something. I think without a doubt, I think my life experiences when I was younger really have helped me to have a good understanding of where the young people I work with are coming from. I think the climate's changed a lot, so I can't say that, you know, things like, you know, the heartbreaking violence that's around now and knife crime and stuff, you know, it wasn't to that extent when we were young, and we, you know, although I knew people that were you know, in prison or got killed or, you know, that kind of thing, it wasn't rife, and it wasn't the kind of everyday heartbreaking situation it is now. But essentially, you know, a lot of it all boils down to self-esteem, and I think that throughout everything I do, I try and instill that in the young people, or in the programs that I'm designing. I just think, you know, I can look back on my life and know that I made a lot of those decisions because I didn't have much self-esteem. I didn't really see much potential for my future. I had no vision for the future whatsoever. Now I know why I did the things I did. Now I know why I made those choices, because they've actually come to help me a lot.
Of course.
Yeah.
What's your greatest, oh my gosh, that's me, from Amy Winehouse?
So there's been many. I mean, for me personally, I organised a month of events for what would have been Amy's 30th birthday in Camden. So that was hashtag Amy's 30. One of those moments was having, they put our hashtag on the BT Tower.
Oh, wow.
And so they had that up there on Amy's birthday, and that was definitely a moment of, we were just like, wow. You know, wow. And we were so frazzled by this point. We were quite emotionally like wrecked by that point, because we were so tired after doing one event after another. But it was beautiful. It was such an amazing month and experience, and that was definitely a highlight. And we did I did a whole day in Camden for our 5th anniversary last September, and that was really beautiful. And I had a stage, and that was full of Amy's Yard, you know, artists coming throughout the day. And then we moved to the Amy statue in Camden in the kind of a bit of an auditorium in the Stables Market.
Right.
And that was beautiful. I mean, when I turned around and there were hundreds of people there, and the kids were covering Amy's tracks up at the front, and that was like, whew, that was pretty special. Yeah. So there's been many, but
I'll take those ones. I've got pictures of them in my head now.
They were good, yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
So Fully Focused Productions, incredible.
Thank you.
I've watched.
Can't take all the credit.
No, I know. But you are director and, you know, co-chair, which sounds very, very up there. I'm sure it's lots of hard work though. But again, this is a production company, and correct me if I'm wrong, led by the youth, led by younger people, and it's giving them a voice.
Absolutely, yeah.
A voice that is positive, a voice that is looking at real issues in their lives, and a voice that they want to be heard.
Yeah.
So I think the most prominent production that you did was The Riot. Is it?
Right from Wrong.
Riot from Wrong, which was when, well, gosh, how many years now we're going back?
2011, so 6 years ago in the summer. Yeah.
And this was the riots that took place after Mark Duggan
was shot. Yeah.
Was shot, and that escalated.
Yeah.
And I remember myself, I'm South East London. I remember, thinking, let's not go out tonight.
Yeah.
It was horrendous.
It was a crazy time. It was a really bizarre few days. There was so much, I guess now because we've got social media as well, there was so much kind of hype and panic and kind of opinion about it. I mean, it was certainly one of those times where you get to know people on your Facebook a little bit more by the way that they react to things like that, and I guess that's why we did it. Like I said, I was already involved, and at that point we'd formed a youth steering group to support the organisation anyway. It was kind of a suggestion by a funder that we'd gone to, but we thought actually, that's really important. So we'd already formed that, and then when the riots happened, we were all just very hit by, okay, the mainstream media and, like I said, on social media, there was a lot of opinion that, all these hoodies, these young people, what they're doing, they're out there, they just want to steal trainers, look at them with the TVs and, all of that. And we knew there was much more to it than that. The
bit that I loved, which I'm going to show you in a moment, is all these different thoughts of why it happened. So let's just have a look at that for 1 second.
To me, I find it heartbreaking that young people feel the need to...
So this is the first coalition summer, and we have riots. Now,
well, we know that there were something like 3,500 crimes reported during that time.
I mean, there are some pretty pertinent statistics which I think the government seems to be ignoring.
The impact of the riots was pure criminality. That was people taking advantage.
Those who say to me that they were protesting because...
Think about it, police were helpless. They weren't really...
But as communities, we bear responsibility.
It is how you treat each other.
One where you're rioting for a reason, you're not really looting for a reason. Like there's no national
demonstration was the best way of communicating.
They don't feel like
people just get too much influence off celebrities, comedians.
Enough is enough.
I love the fact that it's bringing a different voice.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the young people that we work with have always been it's a really diverse group, and that means everything from their gender to their colour to their religion to whatever. And that's for us particularly, because Ted and Nikki are the people that founded it, and they're old school friends of mine, and really we've kind of got a really great close team, and that's been our experience of growing up in London. I think if you grow up in London, that's generally your experience, is that the world is very diverse, and for us there were messages or kind of insinuations in what was being said around that time around young people that we weren't happy with, and so we thought, well, we can't be a youth-led production company and not respond to this. So our instant thing was within, I think, a day, we were out on the street with a camera with our young team. It was an opportunity, like you said, for their voice to be heard. Like, it's very easy for people to just presume that young people don't care, they don't have an opinion, It's not true. I have some of the most intellectual conversations with the young people that I work with. They're very politically aware, more so than I was at that age. I just told you what I was up to, and I didn't care. Even with my political upbringing, I didn't really care about the bigger picture. And so I think it's, we just thought, it's an opportunity to, and also, just look at the wider picture. There are so many things wrong in society. We cannot just think that happened just because a load of kids are just wanted to go and nick some trainers.
And then you have other videos as well that I've watched that Teddy's done.
Yeah.
About really informative ones about being homeless and being evicted and knowing your rights with renting and things like that. That's really important. And when I was, and at the end of it, you're always saying, it always says, the law changes. So know your rights.
Know your rights.
That's really important because I don't think I found anywhere else that's kind of homing into those things that youngsters need to be aware of.
To know,
to be educated.
Absolutely. We've done films on Stop and Search, on restorative justice, so that was a really powerful one. And we're being commissioned to make these as well, because people have, you know, after Right from Wrong, we've screened it all over the world. So there was like 100 screenings all over the world, and that really built a momentum for us.
Within Fully Focused, how do you feel? What's your drive? What's your passion, having come from the environment that you came from, having also been involved in the Amy Winehouse Foundation, you know, constantly with the youth? What do you get from it? Tell me about that part for you.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It has become the theme of my life, and I guess I never really saw that coming. It wasn't necessarily something I saw from a younger age that I'd be doing. I think it's just really important that young people have a voice and that we value them. I think we treat our young people very badly. I think we've forgotten about, you know, the role of the community in raising young people. They've got a lot to offer, and they are literally the future, aren't they?
They are the future.
Like, if we're not investing in them, and you can already see the impact of that, you know, with the things that are happening with some young people. If we're not investing in them, like, where are things going to go, really, you know?
Platform Inspires met Inspiring Vanessa.
Oh my God, she's amazing.
She's incredible. She's so much fun. She loves her Barbie dolls as well. She demolished chocolate cake on the set, which I don't blame her, because I put it in front of her.
What can you do?
Exactly, apart from eat it, right? But one of the things that she said, she has this saying, because her mentor shared it with her, and she lives by it, and she says, I hope I can get it right, Vanessa. She said, we can't prepare the future for our next generation, but we can prepare our next generation for the future.
Yeah, exactly.
And when she said it, I was like, sitting there for ages. I was like that emoji, like that again.
Whoa.
So Roundtable, what is your responsibility within that? Because you are, as I've written down here, a global change ambassador.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, so Roundtable is an amazing organisation. It's a kind of global, Roundtable Global. So they're doing amazing things all over the world, actually. So Tiffany and her team, who are just wonderful people, just with the best motivation, like unbelievably motivating. I never meet them without leaving and feeling just completely inspired. They are galvanising people really from all over. So they've got these global change ambassadors in all of these different countries that they work in, and their work is literally global. And they're kind of, what they're trying to create, I guess, is using these people, utilising their skills, their passion, their networks. Networks is a big part of it. And looking at ways, how can we collaborate with each other? How can we connect people up? What's beautiful about it is it doesn't often have to involve cash. It's really
and
inspiring.
it's not just youth, it's not just the younger generation, it's
no,
right across.
They're really into the three generations, so they're very much kind of, and at every event they have, they make a real effort to ensure that there are young people there, that there are older, you know, the elders there. So it's very much kind of honouring, you know, the role that everybody plays, and just bringing them together and kind of galvanising. It's an ever-moving creation, so it's not a kind of, I need to be there for certain hours, or, you know, it's just like, you know, there's lots of different initiatives to get involved in.
So your tattoo on your arm.
Oh yes, this one, yep.
Yeah, can you read it for me, please?
I can. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us.
Now, we talked about this when we met for a coffee. I don't drink coffee, by the way, so I had a herbal tea.
You don't need coffee.
I don't need coffee. Could you imagine me on coffee? No. Actually, let's just try it and just see what happens. But you were talking about the darkness and saying, you know, not to be scared of it.
Yeah. This is I think it's like the second line in a Marianne Williamson speech, which Nelson is most famous for Nelson Mandela giving it. And like I said, he's kind of, I don't know, he's just one of my all-time favourite, you know, people from history. But the first line is, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. And I'd always had that quote around, or kind of, it had always really spoken to me. I really just got it. And so I got the tattoo. But I guess for me, it's like, there's two sides to it, really. There's a fear in us to embrace our light, or our absolute, you know, fullest potential, because I think maybe for the reasons I was saying, you know, like the lack of self-esteem or belief, or, you know, kind of daring to shine, you know, actually, isn't it easier to just be kind of, you know, not stand out, just kind of plod along, and not really take those risks to see if you could absolutely live an extraordinary life. You know, maybe it's just safer to just stay where you are in the shadows. But on the flip side of that, acknowledging the importance of embracing the darkness as well, because, you know, I guess I had earlier this year I was definitely not in the great place. I was kind of, you know, just one of those periods in life where things feel a bit difficult. And for the first time I just thought, I'm just going to go with this. I'm just going to really embrace this and allow this to happen, because it's part of it. There's balance, there's light and dark, and we're kind of trained to believe that only the positive emotions are the ones worth chasing. You know, they're the only ones.
Of course.
Be happy, smile, don't be sad, don't cry. It's like, well, they're all there. Those things are there for a reason. You know, we're allowed to do those things, and actually they can feel great. And what I've learned, you know, from the ups and downs of life is that just on the other side of that darkness is always your next level up, your next progression into your journey.
You know, everything you've done, from, you know, locking the teacher in the cupboard, which I can't believe you locked the teacher in the cupboard.
I can't believe
that. I'm sorry, teacher.
Sorry.
To, you know, stumbling kind of across the Amy Winehouse Foundation and having this incredible opportunity and not believing you could make such an incredible success of it, and having celebrated 6 years, and watching lives develop. You know, and now being a global ambassador, what's the future look like? What's your passion to drive you forward? What do you want to happen?
It's a big question, isn't it? I mean, I think there's a part of me that one day feels like I'll set up something of my own. I guess I need to know that whatever that thing is, that there's enough drive and love and belief in it that I'm willing to kind of, because it's obviously, you know, you've just set up Platform Inspires, and I know it comes with a lot of, you know, it takes guts and it takes a kind of real conviction that you want to make that thing work.
Well, you certainly are making a difference in a lot of lives. Like I said, we're going to be interviewing Joel, and he speaks so highly of you. And you know, within the Amy Winehouse Foundation, within Fully Focused Productions, within Roundtable, huge amounts of value creating you're doing there. So give yourself a pat on the back, woman. Well done, well done. And I look forward to seeing what happens. And like I say to everybody on platform, you know, please make sure, keep in contact with us. Let us know what you're up to and what's going on. Because it's very, very exciting, all the work you're doing. And you're right, you know, they are the next generation. And they now need, it's beautiful because they have these places that they can go to if they are struggling, to tell them, grab hold of your darkness, but remember your light as well. Absolutely. Is there anything that you would like to share with our audience? Like, I always like a little nugget that someone has to kind of give people to stay with as such. Is there any little nugget you'd like to share with the Platform Inspires audience?
Well, I guess as well as the darkness and light, because I guess I feel that feels like one of my personally biggest lessons. Another one which I share with a lot of young people is really, there is no one way to do things, and I think there's a lot of pressure that, you know, you should do it this way, you should, you know, you've got to go to uni, you've got to do this, and I think there are many paths to get to where you want to get, and I think it's, if you follow your passion, that's probably, you know, and that could be, it doesn't have to be a passion that you see the end goal in 10 years. It can just be in that moment, what's the next right step for you, and just to make your own path, to clear your own path and to do it your own way, because I think it makes people feel really inadequate if they feel like they can't follow the path that we've all been told we have to follow, and I think it's nonsense. I think there's many ways to get to where you want to get.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, and thank you for coming on Platform Inspires.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's been amazing. We just have to keep going coffee though, even though we're not going to do the interview.
We're friends now.
Yeah, we're friends now. We're sorted. Thank you so much. Amazing to have you here, Rowan.
Thank you.
What a beautiful young woman. Well, that's Platform Inspires. Remember, our purpose is to encourage, support and inspire you to keep going with your own big dreams. Never give up. Enjoy the holidays, and we'll be back New Year's Day with a musical extravaganza featuring all of the artists that we've showcased since July. And today it's one of Amy's Yard's very own Gypsy Glitter, aka Emma Marie. I'm Fiona Neeranjohn. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Until next time, bye.
It's always changing, the mood is waxy and waning, but the story remains the same. The ancients are traveling through you. Trust your guidance to see you through. Open up, baby, there's no other choice, no better better. Oh, no one else will be able to enter. Following all the advice to the letter. Always striving to be better, to be better. Can't let these things take your love. Can't let these things rupture your love. No, you will always be enough. Can't forget, don't forget your love. Can't let these things take your love. Don't let these things rupture your